The man them there. Yeah. God
Yes.
man them in the place. Yeah, on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, the 25th of May 2022 in Jamrock, right here in Jamaica. Man oh man, we there. We want to talk about the mentor man, the leader man, the counselor man, where the man them there, man in the rural area, the urban area, farmers and people who make sure our streets are clean. Where the officers them there. Welcome to the program designed for men with guests who are men, hosted by men. This is the mailbox here every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101 FM, the family station. Yes, the mailbox is now sponsored by Fosrich Company Limited. Fosrich, big up. Really appreciate your sponsorship. I am Kevin Bailey. I am not alone today. Courtney.
What a go on, Kev, Radio Land, YouTube Land, Facebook, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on the mailbox today. Indeed, it's been a pleasure. The weekend was an exciting time filled with so much things. Talk about it shortly. But as Kevin said earlier, this is a program designed for men. Every fourth Wednesday, as one is today, we highlight a man that has integrity. We dub fourth Wednesdays, Integrity Wednesday. It's where we highlight a man that won't lower his standard just for any and anything. Sometimes, ladies, those men are hard to find, but if you look carefully, you find them. But we found one today. And as we always find one each month, that shows that they are available. And he will be sharing with us. And so, Kev, the weekend was good. It's Child's Month. And as
Yeah.
such, we're celebrating Child's Month. I want to say a big up to all the Fellowship Tabernacle Portmore crew, you know, Karen Morrison, that's my wife, Claudette Forrest, Lady Shelley Ann Thompson, for all that they've been doing, parenting, just helping with a number of things, and to the Labor Day projects that existed on Labor Day. It was quite a busy weekend. Epsom Basic School is where Fellowship Tabernacle Portmore is housed, and as such, they too are celebrating a big day, May the 31st, with their youngsters, all these basic schools doing a number of things. Miss Sharon Rose, principal of Epsom Basic School, and to her staff, big up. Happy Child's Month.
Courtney, indeed, we have to salute our children. We have to salute the teachers, parents, guardians, those who make it happen. Sabbath school, Sunday school, all across Jamaica. We have some great men and women who are making their contribution and making sure our children are safe. And want to big up Betty and Blaine, hear the children's cry, and so many other persons who are working assiduously to protect our children, the government agencies. It's a collaborative effort, so want to encourage. While we have to make sure that we protect our children, make sure that they are safe, we continue to grieve here at Marvel Gospel Hall. Mentioned our associate pastor's wife died, Richard Jarrett's wife, Therese Jarrett, of Grace Kennedy, also Marvel Gospel. We continue to celebrate her contribution, and so it is a challenging time for all of us, but very thankful for her life as well. So we keep praying. In fact, we're going to have a special prayer meeting this evening at Marvel Gospel Hall. So, Courtney, we give thanks in the midst of challenges. In
Yes.
everything, we give thanks, for this is the will of God. And we're so happy for the men, them from Moran Point to Nick Grill, and for the ladies as well. But a man thing, right?
Straight up. My continued condolences to the family as well. We also had the passing of one of our members' father, Tony Cranston, his father, Valentine Cranston. So to the entire family, we extend our condolences. Kevin, who is our integrity man for today?
I tell you, Courtney, we're very honored, privileged, pleased to have as our integrity man for this week, Reverend Jayson Downer. Yes, Reverend Jayson Downer, husband of one wife for over 10 years, father of three, including a set of twin. Can you imagine that? He's an ordained minister of the gospel, dorm manager at Jamaica College, author of the book Fathering Behind Bars, deputy chairman on the board of visitors of the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility, president of Magava, Men of God Against Violence and Abuse, and my co-host here, Courtney Morrison, is the chairman of Mogava. You don't know. He's a radio host, among many other things. Let me tell you, Jayson just wear a multiplicity of hats, and I am so very happy. Welcome, Reverend Jayson Downer. Jayson, welcome to the mailbox again.
Yeah, man. Big up Monday, you know. Big up, gentlemen. Kevin, Courtney, Monday, big up yourself. Love 101. It's good to be here again. To the listeners, big up.
I call Jayson Downer the real big man.
Yeah, we know.
He knows why. He knows why. We talk about that a little later. So a real man is in the place today. I think all men are real, broken or otherwise. So we want to talk about a man of integrity today. A man of man. Remember, we want to hear from you. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. That's where you go. Love 101 FM. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can leave your comments via our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. Women, we welcome your participation in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp or comment on our Facebook page. Females, remember, no calls or voice notes allowed. You can share what you know about our integrity man. If you know him, share about an encounter you may have with him. He's live with us here. Please feel free.
That's right. That is so right. And because we know our time fly when we're chatting, we want to go straight into it. Our integrity man, who is Reverend Jayson Downer from the Christian Life Fellowship Church. Today, we want to find out how he balances all these things he's involved in: being married, having family, ministry, mentorship, writing, and all the other hats, and still manage to be alive. So you don't know. We need to learn lots of stuff. But this is where we want to have model behavior. Come many times you hear no good man not there, and the man them now going with nothing and what is happening. But we want to showcase that God still has men on planet Earth who can be set as examples. Courtney, but you know, so we have to do the shout out first, right?
Yes.
So after 2, 1, 2.
Monday!
Yeah. You know, say.
Hear what though? The truth is, it's time to get into the main segment. You know, because time as a way of really catching up, as Kev says, it is time for the inbox. Today, we're looking at a man of integrity. Who is a man of integrity? Proverbs 10 and verse 9, the New International Version, declares it this way: whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. Jesus says so through the word.
Yes, Jayson Downer.
Yes.
Jayson Downer is a passionate social advocate who is fully dedicated to promoting family health, particularly through addressing some of the critical challenges that males experience. He's also concerned a male youth developmental specialist. He therefore spearheads a wide range of programs, including fathering, mentorship, mental health, domestic violence, and substance abuse. Mr. Downer has a BA in theology and a minor in guidance and counseling, and is currently completing his master's in forensic psychology. Big things. I'm very happy and pleased to hear this. So he's not just resting on his laurels, but equipping himself greatly. Very proud of Jayson.
Neither is his size not reminiscent of how large he is in what he does. The Downer is an ordained minister of the gospel. Yes, he is. He's a dorm manager at Jamaica College, in spite of being a Kingston College old boy. He's the author of the book Fathering Behind Bars. He is the deputy chairman on the board of visitors of the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility. He is the president of Magava. Many need to join that group. It's Men of God Against Violence and Abuse. He served as co-chair on the Gender Advisory Council. He is consultant to the Lasker Chin Foundation and master trainer in the World Needs a Father movement based in South Africa.
And just
No,
when you
he is
thought,
definitely the real big man.
let me tell you, just when you thought it was finished, he has been married to his wife, Setoya, for 16 years. She's his closest friend and most faithful supporter. They have three beautiful children together, daughter Danielle and twin boy and girl Jaden and Jadine. The family worships together at Christian Life Fellowship. So we have a man of integrity who value what is honest, true, noble, trustworthy, kind, and right ahead of personal gain. Reverend Jayson Downer, welcome again to the mailbox. Great to have you.
Why?
So, yeah, man.
Yes.
I think I get to give the first question. Boy, when I listened to the accomplishments, and I said, one little man, still pretty young, accomplishing all of this. Did you envision yourself doing all of this when you were just a little boy? And tell us a little bit about your early childhood, parents, what was it like for you growing up, Jason?
Yeah, man. Thanks, Kevin, Courtney. Well, no, I never envisioned this for sure. I mean, it's my late 20s going into my 30s that the Lord said to look behind us, look, and I looked, and then He said, look forward, and I saw a trail. You know, so it was just a journey, and then He directed me into a certain path, a journey which started out in first Christian faith, and then youth generally. Jamaica Youth for Christ really aided significantly in my development, big time.
Mm.
Reverend Dexter Johnson, Dr. Donovan Thomas, and of course, Reverend Harold Blair Jr. And then, from there, the Lord just directed me in a particular way. Growing up, no, certainly loved cars growing up, I remember just in the yard, I pretend to drive bus, the quarter million, and then cover them. So that was it. And I decided after finishing high school, I would have joined the force. That was my plan, but God had other plans for me. Yeah, so that was really it. I knew I wanted to. I knew that there was a calling to be a pastor.
Mm.
But from early, I kept on feeling the sense that not pastoring in the traditional sense, that there was, at the time, you never have the YouTube and these things at all. But there was this sense that there was more to what I was learning as it relates to the four walls and super conservative type of, tradition, or, certain doctrinal views. And I always felt there was more. And, God really, through the guidance of men, other men, I can tell you that without doubt. Other men who tug at me, who reprimand me, men who did that and also show that they love me, help to guide me in a particular way. Mhm.
Awesome.
Tell us a little bit more. That I want to go back a little further.
Mhm.
Um, well, I might know a little more than most persons about your life, but tell us growing up, your relationship with your father, your mother. Tell
Right.
us a little bit about growing up, even through basic school, primary
Mhm.
school, and on to the greatest institution, Kingston
Right.
College.
All
What
right.
was life like coming
So
up through
so
that?
so was born seeing just my older brother and my mother. Then after I didn't see my father. Cut a long story short, she would travel periodically. My brother father would come and I asked her, "Where's my dad?" At first she said maybe they're foreign. That was a thing to say.
Mm.
And then after be asking, then she revealed that he was incarcerated. Um,
Incarcerated, that mean in
Prison.
prison. That's
He
it,
was in prison,
right?
and
Okay.
I'm 40 years old, so that was in the mid 80s, and that was pretty embarrassing for me because bad people go to prison. But at the same time, she would speak positively about him. My family members would speak positively about him. But for me, I only saw black and white. If you speak positively about a man who is in prison, bad people go to prison. The long and short, he would send message through my older sister to me, son, I love you, etc. So I
Mm.
kind of started to know him. And then when he came out at 12, suddenly released early, um, this man, I saw this man look over the fence and Jayson, and I'm like, I'm Jayson. Next thing I know, this person, I don't know him reach over if him walk through the gate or him jump the fence. He was embracing me. I'm your father and stuff like that. And a range of emotion followed then. But at that point there was a lot of void. Even after that he came out and I saw love first, and he never ever ended a conversation without saying, "Son, I love you," to my brother. And he would try his best. He never complained. You never hear him say the system of fighting, nothing like that. But even then, I still had some hurt because he was missing for a certain period of my life. And it's until I actually dealt with it. But throughout that period of time, my mom had to go travel overseas and come back and stuff. And during that period, I would worry a lot. Long and short, I did not know what that worry is because the term that we now know it as wasn't a buzzword then. And I internalized a lot. And I, got into severe depression and it really was bad, and at first it was a disaster for me, but now, I remember late 20s God when I started to look at certain things, and Dr. Anthony Allen, who's a psychiatrist. I said, yes, man, sometimes you need to see a psychiatrist. You need to see somebody. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm not to say it. At the time I was
True.
pretty embarrassed,
Yeah.
and through help, guidance, through my studies at JTS as well, while learning theology and guidance and counseling, abnormal psychology, etc., I was able to recognize what was happening to me. Till I reach a point where I call it my blessing in disguise. Why?
Mm.
Because based on the field that I'm in, I'm able to identify with a lot of people and direct them and stuff like that. So that was pretty much how my childhood was, in a nutshell. But I'm grateful for it. I'm not
Yeah.
one who believe in smooth sailing. I believe in safe landing. So
Yeah.
I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to accept the past, engage the present, what is happening now, and impact the future. And that's a mantra I use even with the mentees that come into my life. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Jason, thank you so much for just being open and vulnerable like this because we need it, desperately need men who are able to model authentic living. And I really appreciate you just being able to share and to challenge our men to seek help when they need help. Jason, and what is it that drives you? That make you want to get up in the morning, that make you want to live. What is it you're passionate about and want to see happening in life, Jason?
I don't. I hate injustice. I hate injustice. I believe I have a lot of compassion. Um, it's just, and I felt this way from very early, but I did not know how to direct it because in my early years as a Christian, not knocking the church where I grew up in because it helped a lot, but at the same time, the male input wasn't really there in terms of daily liberty, and so all these things that were going on in my head, I couldn't channel it. Nobody could really, even about family and having a wife and all these things. You only see what glitters. Nobody really tell you
Yeah.
what comes with it, right? And so it is after during that time, Reverend Owen Degu, who is pastor at Duane Park Gospel Assembly. He was the first man I actually broke down in tears around. He and his wife
Mm.
Michelle. We got broke down, and his father-in-law was an elder at, I think, you know Portmore Missionary, one of those churches too. Broke down, and that was the first time I felt a male really not condemning me or say man for tough up. They facilitated that moment. And
Yeah.
so I realized after growing up and then going into having gone to high school, all boy high school, I never picked for Casey, none at all, but I went there.
You didn't choose Casey?
No, no, that's what I'm saying. When the Lord said, look over your shoulder, I'm like, huh? And when I look, I realize a trend. The whole thing
So,
with my
so
father,
which school did you choose? Just
I
to
picked
get off
Meadowbrook,
course.
I think it's
Eh?
all co-ed schools. And
Okay.
when I heard about Casey, I'm like,
You see,
huh?
God had to choose for him. You
Wait,
see,
I'll
what
take
he
that.
knew was best
I'll
for
take
him
that. Yeah,
because his choices just didn't match up.
I will I won't argue that. And then I left there, and I taught for a while. I taught at St. Aloysius Primary, then I taught at Emmanuel Christian Academy for about 7 years. And I was a only male teacher there. And I wasn't seeing certain things until the Lord said, look clearly. When children would leave and they come back and they would say things like, you're the only male. And and when the Lord said, look, and then the whole thing of depression and with my
Mhm.
father and being a quote unquote barrel child, and my mom tried and all of that. And then somebody
Mhm.
said to me when I was at Youth for Christ one time and I felt a pull. Somebody said to me, the Lord is calling you to a niche area. And it's from there the Lord just opened my eyes and directed me in the path of male and youth development. I mean, it all didn't just pencil out like that.
Yeah.
Along the way, and as people guided me, and I realize it's a passion I have to see young men. I believe if you save the male, you save the family. I really believe that. I also believe that we are somewhat marginal. I believe a lot of things. And so the whole issue of mental health, the whole issue of fatherlessness, the whole issue of being a husband, all of these things so happen to be in the area of male development. And knowing now statistic, 80% of household led in Jamaica is led by a single mother. And so the passion is just there. It is just there. So I do both things. I, on one hand, will admonish, but on the other hand, I will advocate. And I'm not afraid on either side. And sometimes the passion will come out, and some people say, boy, a passion, but I can't divorce the passion. And passion doesn't mean lack of reason, by the way. You understand? So that's what it is, and I have people around me. That's very important. My wife, I've learned to become who is my best friend. I've learned that. And I have people around me. I might have somebody who's a mentor in this area. If I go, there's another mentor in another area, but I have people who aren't afraid to tug at me, to check in on me, and also check my wife to check in on me. So I kind of have that. Some of it is deliberate to set it up. Some of it just happens. But it is what it is.
Jason, it's fascinating listening you talking about your struggles and overcoming them. And as our men and boys are listening, you're speaking to overcoming struggles and that they are real. One of my questions to you is how important, you actually alluded to it, how important is this support group when you're going through all that you're going through? Meal support, others. How important? How does it work?
It is vital. I for one, for young men who are developing, it is very important because we confuse. You see, when we touch 13, 14, we're confused. Person like me will get, well, even when I got baptized about 14, 15, I was always exposed to the church. But on one hand, I'll give you a perfect example. You hear abstain, you hear your body is a temple of the Lord, you hear all of this. But on the flip side, your body is saying you want to see a naked woman, you want to have sex. The whole idea of masturbation is there. But nobody came in the middle to say, hey, this is how you deal with it. There was no rites of passage, there was nothing. In fact, all you hear is if somehow you had, and I hope I can say this, I'm going to say it, wet dream or something like that, you must, or can wash out your underwear, wash out the sheet. It's like a shame thing. Nobody said, listen, man, you're normal. All you hear will a cold shower, and demonize. None of all of that. And so I'm grateful for my position here at JC, where I'm able to help to guide young men from as young as 11 all the way to 19. So that's a
Mhm.
that's a space there, but also in the 20s, the adolescent male,
Mhm.
with my studies, learning now, formal education, and at the forensic level and all of these things. All of these things are important because I realize you can't just be interested in an area or just call it your area. You have to be equipped, especially now. And let me tell you, the trauma is real in our young men from as early all the way up. Unfortunately for me, even though it started in my late teens where I started to get people around me, I realized I still need these people. Even in my relationship with my wife, even with my relationship with my children, I have to tug on some people and say, listen, man, you think every day my wife get up and look pretty? No, it's not every day everything is okay. And growing up, only time you knew when a relationship was in turmoil was when you hear that it's a divorce because everybody put on a show then. I am not afraid
Mhm.
to ask questions. And so I appeal to men. We talk about we don't keep friends. Let me tell you something. We all need somebody.
Yeah.
Don't we all need somebody. And that's my encouragement to you out there as a man. You don't know it all. Parent, you never born a parent. A father, you never born a father. Being a
Mhm.
man is a journey, trials and error. We speak to older men to help to guide us, bounce things off them. Clearly not go to anybody, but it's important to have old people like Courtney. God, Kevin with him bald head. You can say, boy, you know. But yeah, so I pride myself in having people around me. That's me. Can't change,
Yeah.
sorry.
Jason, and just to let our listeners know, we're speaking with Reverend Jason Downer. And so you are in for a treat. Has been very stimulating. The problem, perennial problem, shortage of men in the church, and that impacts our females, impacts relationships. Jason, from your perspective, your experience, expertise, and just off your head, what do we need to do differently? What you sense that we need to do in order to captivate the man them to come and be a part of the movement for Jesus, as it were? Yes.
I often get this question, and sometimes I get some, you know, I wouldn't say pushback, but some opposition, and that's fine. That's fine. I think our approach to men need to be a bit more strategic. I think first of all, we need to do our churches need to do self audit. One, look at the men who are there and try to create. I don't know, a kind of psychosocial spiritual approach to evaluate men where they are. Also, look at the single mothers in the church and evaluate that. Do the audit there, and then through a strategic approach, begin now to reach out to men in your immediate community. Whether it's through the taxi man them or run robot taxi or at the bar or wherever it is. It must be strategic, and there are some people who might be able to give some ideas how you go about doing it. Um, I must say this: as men, we like to know that when you approach us, we sense and know that you care. You don't
Mm.
approach us and already you draw a conclusion. And I find that happens a lot, especially like young people. I know it's very difficult dealing with young people these days. Believe you me, I know. However,
Yeah.
oftentimes we have to be mindful of our approach. We can't approach and say, "Oh, it's a generation of vipers." It's like we conclude already. No, it's not everybody a viper. Go and find out, no, man. Everybody a snake. So
Amen,
I
bro.
think that is important. I also believe that sometimes church comes off a bit too. My good friend Courtney will disagree with me here, but comes off a bit too effeminate. Not because a
Mm.
man in a church and him not lift
Mm.
him hand and mucus now come out time nose and all of that means that he's not worshiping.
Yeah.
Also true. Um, it can also be true that a man might be there and none of that is happening and he is worshiping or he's not. I think we need to set a standard as it relates to what is worship personally.
Mm.
Because I often hear
Agreed.
men come in church and it's as though, even though we try to say we don't want to create a box, we create a box for men. And men really don't like that. Also, men like interaction. And I think we need to create space outside of divine services where man can come and just chill, and interaction can take place. But it's going to take a lot of effort because the truth is, as you see in churches, we really don't have a lot of men. And the
Mm.
men who are there, the available men, are overwhelmed, like myself. 'Cause
Jason,
everybody
want
crying
to
out, everybody
want to
talking.
stick a pin there. We want to go to a commercial break.
Sure.
You're doing a fantastic job, and trust me, men don't like boxes. So who knows? The four walls of a building may feel like a box to men. We're going to take a commercial break. We're talking to Reverend Jason Downer. He doesn't like us using the term Reverend, but I love to remind him. We will be right back after these messages with Jeff.
And its workforce are advancing quickly. Life changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future. Digicel. Connect with Brata. Theater Can. Enjoy all your favorite apps and more on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate the Prime Brata bundle for as low as $175 by dialing *147 number sign from your Digicel phone or in the My Digicel app. Alright, connect with Brata. Digicel Prime Brata. Theater Can.
Rio Grande to the south coast. Hotel workers and man we're off boat. This a for the craft vendors, red cap porters and transportation at airport. Jamaica tourism pension plan, building towards the future for tourism workers across the island. Retirement benefits to contributions. Every worker in the industry, permanent self-employed contract. For your service you deserve security. Yes, you do. Tourism workers pension plan, build a bright future. Yes, you can. Tourism workers pension plan, workers invest your contribution. All tourism workers, age 18 to 59. Tourism workers pension plan.
Start making your contributions for a brighter future.
For further information, visit mot.gov.jm or call 876-920-4926 for 30.
When you say phosphorus, you say electrical. SWA cables, conduits, transformers, and breakers. When you say phosphorus, you say lighting, chandeliers, and more. When you say phosphorus, you say LEDs and solar water heaters. Phosphorus is electrical, lighting, solar, and LEDs. Visit us today, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Phosphorus.
Welcome back. The time by Phosphorus, and the mailbox is now 3 minutes past the hour of 6, right here live on Love 101 FM. You're in the program, The Mailbox. We're talking to Reverend Jayson Downer. He's a counsel advocate, male advocate, and he wears many hats. He's currently doing his master's in forensic psychiatry. I hope I got that right. But indeed, he is doing so much. He's doing so much. He needs a master's in weight training, but we'll see about that as the year goes on, you know. But Jayson, you're one of those few men that I call friend. I can tell you genuinely this. You got converted at a young age, 12 or 13, but you were telling us about auditing church and checking on the men and checking on the single female. Can you just continue and tell us?
Yeah, man. You know, I was talking about in terms of how we reach men. I must say this, that one of the things that I find at work now, because whether we accept it or not, again, some persons might not be too pleased with what I'm saying, but whether we accept it or not, church in its collective sense, for some reason, in terms of evangelistically, it's not impacting men as how it should, because what you find, even a lot of churches that start, it's kind of like recycled members, right? You don't have really a lot of fresh members coming in. And so, in a sense, it's like an era is slipping away or passing where that model had a certain impact. What needs to happen now is more personal witnessing. And I'm not talking going on the road and issuing tracts. Big up to Walter Pan New Testament. I see them going out and them doing things. We keep doing that. But also, I encourage us that we understand now personal testimony in our individual spaces. You know, at work, at school, wherever that individual space is, and a male comes in, and based on the leading of the Holy Spirit, we know how to interact and present the gospel, and also present it in a way where men can understand. Yes, talk about Moses and all those stalwarts, but now speak about how you took that gospel of Jesus Christ, applied it to your life, and even God's point of being personal to say, I had a problem with smoking. And I had a problem X. However, this is how. Because what I find is that nowadays men and younger men, they tend to be more, they require more relationship to be relatable. And I think that is where we need to go in order to win men. If you find a lot of men who, now you hear the testimony, they will tell you about that co-worker or that person who spoke to them in such a way where they could identify with them. And so I believe that's a way we need to go now, because a certain model that we had, while it still exists and we still use it, we need to now understand that individually we have a part to play.
Oh, some serious thoughts there from Reverend Jayson Downer. And sure, we have to process that, and we are processing it. Jason
Yes,
Magava
sir.
was about Magava. What is Magava? Where did that come from? And what has been happening there? Yeah.
Mogava stands for Men of God Against Violence and Abuse, and it really started in officially registered in 2013. So next year it will be 10 years actually in terms of registration.
Oh,
First chairman
that,
was Steve Blair, Harold Blair Jr., and of course a certain person wearing that cap now as chair. You
that
know,
will
big
be
up. We've
Pastor
done a
Courtney
couple.
Morrison.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Aye.
We've got a number of hats. We've done a lot of projects. Fathering Behind Bars, Amazing Dads. It's a lot of stuff we have done, and we are called on to make presentation all the times. People often call us and say, "How do I become a member of Mogab?" And I say, "We're not recruiting members. It's not about recruiting membership. Of course, we network. Once you're a Christian and you're male and you love the Lord, then automatically you and you represent integrity. Automatically, you are a part of us. What we encourage is that you utilize your space and you do what God has called men to do, etc. Or presently, we have an event coming on this Sunday,
Oh,
and it's close to the general public. I must make that very clear because it's kind of like a pilot. It's called Sunday, Sonday,
mhm.
and it is engaging young men, fostering development. And again, I used a term the other day, well, earlier today, psychosocial spiritual approach. And so we're gonna have, balancing the thing. We have a footballer coming to speak about that. We're gonna have, of course, myself presenting on healthy masculinity, and we're gonna speak about Jesus, the, Jesus, the true role model. And of course, we have Sir Courtney, your chair, and we have gospel concert after that. And then we want to meet with these young men every 3 months thereafter. And
Where
just
is it gonna be? Where's the
this is going to
location?
be at Police Officers Club. I don't want to say the time because I don't want the public to turn out. We're catering
Oh,
to 10. We're catering to 100 young men who are in existing mentorship program because
okay.
we want to reinforce. We don't want a knee-jerk reaction.
I see what you
And
mean.
so we want to get this model right so that in moving forward, we have this because young men respond based on reinforcement. So we're doing that. We have a radio program too, and we give thanks for that, Raising Boys on a Journey to Manhood. And of
Yeah.
course, we partner with organization Left Wrong Do Right. So we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. I just want to appeal to the men out there. Utilize your space, own your space. That's how the message can be spread. That's how impact. It's not, we don't wait on the collective approach. That will come. But utilize this space because it's each one reach one, and we're in a crisis. We'll lose we youth them. We'll lose we youth them. I tell you, we'll lose we youth them. See?
And Magava also partners with the Bureau of Gender Affairs
How
and
could
a
I
number of
forget the
events.
Bureau of Gender Affairs, Rev?
Yes, so we
Mrs.
have to.
Sharon Kober Robinson. Yeah, man. Big up to you and the team. Nashan, Nadia. They are main supporter. Most instances are only supporter through the COPE initiative. So we want to give them thanks for having been on board with us.
Beautiful.
Ah, lots of stuff
Amazing
there.
Dads. You mentioned two other programs. Amazing
Yeah, man.
Dads, Father.
Amazing lads. We did a six episode series back in 2017.
Television program.
Television program, and it was launched on International Men's Day. Myself and of course Sir Courtney here, we were
Fabulous,
we were the
fabulous.
hosts. It was good.
Well,
It was good. The
well
feedback is great.
produced, and yeah,
We just need more sponsors,
yes.
to do another
I
season.
totally enjoy it. It looked like I was pray you
Yeah,
guys
man.
get some more
I
sponsorship.
must say there are
Yes,
other groups that are doing something similar. And somebody say, "How you feel?" We don't feel away, and that we want.
We love it.
that's right.
And a competition thing this at all, you know what I mean?
No,
We want the
no.
word spread. We want
Yeah.
the thing get out there. So we give God thanks.
Yes, sure.
You also did a book, which
Yeah.
I think has a lot to do with the program that we also did, Father and Behind Bars. Tell us a
Right.
bit about the book.
Right. So the book really, it's a kind of semi-autobiography. And also we did a program in 2014. I think it was in a Ref Courtney. 2014 in Spanish Town Correctional, St. Catherine Adult Correctional Facility, where we did pretty much 8 to 10 weeks of training reminding, encouraging, equipping men that even though they're incarcerated, their role and responsibility.
2017, Jason.
2017?
Yes, sir.
It's 2017.
5 years ago.
Amazing Dads is 2017. Yeah. But anyhow, the point is, people, give thanks. We had it, and from that, we ventured off, we created this great relationship that opened up being appointed now by the government, serving now on Tower Street as the deputy chair responsible for visiting. And then at St. Catherine, the superintendent in charge is now serving with me on this board. So God has opened it up. Yes. Through that, we have been able to facilitate groups like, Reverend Daddy McClurkin and his team and others. So God is strategically placing us. I mean, I give you some little spaces.
Yes.
But the truth is, all these things is for his glory, to help for networking. That's all it is. Yeah. Nothing else. You know what I mean?
Big up to Professor Kirklands and his team as well.
Yes, indeed.
Is also on Pastor Bruce Fletcher of Operation Save Jamaica.
Yes,
the book,
big up here, Courtney, for coming on stream. Big up the big man, Jason. Love the passion. And this is Marlon.
Marlon.
Yeah.
And I must say, big up to Jamaica Theological Seminary. Marlon is a part of that group in terms of we're doing the masters in forensic psychology. Dr. Barnett, big up everyone. You know what I mean? I'll be a free flow plug, but we said big up anyhow. And thanks to Courtney, I must say this. And let me say something to you. A part of that support group we speak of, Courtney is one of those. Courtney, I must say this, and I said this publicly, he's my confidant. I'm not afraid to say to anybody, I love Courtney. I'm not afraid to embrace it anywhere. You understand? Because it's my integrity. We're not afraid to do them something there.
Yes.
And I think it's important. We're not doing it for a show, but it's important that younger men see older men embracing each other without feeling that there's a sense of issue as it relates to your sexuality. You understand? So I must make that very clear. Big up, my brother.
Big up to you too. You spoke about marriage as well. Oh, sorry, Kevin. You want to?
No, man. Very, very important. Being authentic. Marriage for you. It is one of those challenges, yet so beautiful, instituted by God. But the divorce rate is pretty high, even among Christians.
That's bad.
Give us some insight as to how to make it work. Reverend Jayson Downer, talk to us about that.
It is working. I don't know if anybody can say I have a successful marriage, because I think that is like completing that, hey, everything over and done with, now get a trophy type of thing. Hey, we have done it. No, I think it's working. Because I'm 40, married 16 years, January comes 17 years. I've seen, unfortunately, marriages after 25 years, 30 years fall apart. And if you ask them, maybe at those that have fallen apart after 30 years, if you ask them maybe 20 years, them say, boy, it's successful. No understanding that it takes work. Not saying anything to the breakdown of the marriages that have happened. But for me, again, support. I have friends that I have frank conversations with. Frank. And I think it's very important that you have those. You talk about sex, you talk about parenting, you ask questions. And I am not afraid to do that, because I want my marriage work. WERK. I want it work. And there are times. There are times when it's hard. I remember, one time when we just married, me and my wife argued about a year into the marriage. I saying, what is my gonna do? I said, what is? I said, no, we're not going to argue so. Because again, of what was painted before me at the church that I used to go and the marriages that I saw, it is a friend that I spoke to. And she said, no, man. She said, you're normal. This is normal for marriage as well. It's how you work it out now. So every step of the way. And I have friends that I speak to. I'm not afraid to speak to. Guardedly, of course. But it's very important and it's healthy. We need each other. So that is how it has been working. The grace of God, it takes two to tango. It takes two to make it work. And that's what we have been doing. Along the way, money be tough. Car pop down. miscarriage and all those things put strain on marriage. At the beginning stages of Mogava, no job, no money, nothing, poor wife with her little 2 pence, and she would have take her little 2 pence, put in my hand, and all of those things put strain in it. But I had friends, and for the record, Courtney was around even those times. Sometimes some people see the story, the glory, but don't understand the story and what it took. And so we give God thanks. And so we continue to fight this good fight of faith, even within our marriage. Somebody said something, don't take the dating out of marriage. And after 3 children, we realize, you know what? We have to go get back the spunk going. And so with that, we have to take some of those advice, even now more than ever. So that's what I have to say. I'm no specialist in marriage. It's working, and I give God thanks for that. Big up.
Yeah.
Big up to Lady Satoya Downer.
Yeah,
You declare that your friend and supporter is your wife.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, when I just got married, I was very active. I wasn't so big, Courtney. I wasn't so big. I was actually very.
I saw your pictures when you just.
Yeah, man. I hope you realize that.
Were recruited in the police force. Yes, I know we were not.
Very involved. Yeah. And so when I got married, I had a lot of friends, and my wife would always say, "You can't spend some time with me. I'm your best friend too." And I used to say, "No, you're my wife." I could not understand. And it took me about 5 years, 6 years to really understand that my wife is actually also my best friend. And it's understanding that helps me now to understand and work with my wife, who is the assistant manager here at JC. Because I got it early very quickly to learn how to try to separate the roles when they need to be separated. Albeit she's my wife. You understand? So I realized that my best friend is my wife. Yes, I have other good friends, but nobody like my wife. She has my back. The two become one, and that is so true. Do I upset her sometimes? Yes. She upset me sometimes? Yes. But such is relationship. I never tell anybody, say, me vex tonight, and me go to my bed vex. Because my bed vex sometime, and me say, Lord, help me. Me not gonna lie. Me not gonna lie to nobody. You understand about that? But we try to make it up very quickly as possible. You understand? And we do what works for us. So yeah, that there's no big fancy story about it. Then me learn as me go along. Me but me tea and me go along. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I've learned to trust her intuition. They say woman have 6 sense, and that's true.
No, it's true.
And I've learned to respect that. And so when she said, boy, Jason, I even if I don't see it, I pause a bit. If I don't see it, I pause a bit. Because she on to something. So I'm go on. Better me err on the side of caution. So those are just some of the little things I've learned. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, for wisdom, well, for humility, it takes a man to be able to see the contribution of his wife and how significant that is. Jason, why is it we having so much divorces, you think, in the church when the Holy Spirit is present and people are filled with the Spirit and people go to church 7 days a week and read the Word and so what are your thoughts? I mean, I like
there are several reasons in my opinion. I really don't know the true reason, but there are several factors. I think one, everybody is so independent that everybody can do without each other. If you understand what I mean. It's like I think the place of yielding. I mean, I talk about submission now and who is the leader. I'm talking about being at a place where I am going to compromise on some things. And I speak in that in a healthy way. I think also in the church, now, I don't want to get into any form of doctrine or anything, but I think in the church, divorcing is too easy. The reasons are too easy. Next thing I realized too is, yes, I think the whole thing of premarital is getting mileage, but I think postmarital counseling is lacking. Yeah. And even if it's not in an official sense, I do believe that not enough is being done. There isn't enough space. I had an event, the last time I had it was 2015, called I Still Say I Do. Oh, yeah. And it's because of a need. There was this space. I needed a space where I could go for my wife, and I realized many others where it is not church, but it's not secular. Mm-hmm. That space where it's healthy and safe. And I don't know if there's much of that happening. But outside of that, I think it has to do with a lot of wounds that we have too as individuals. I think a lot of wives don't get to know their husbands, and a lot of husbands don't get to know their wives. And I think a lot of us are too comfortable with modeling. All these are issues that are factoring, and it is too easy to divorce. I think it's the shelf is too low. They can just take it up. You understand? There are grounds, and I do understand that, but it's too easy. That is in my opinion. You understand? Right? Me really I try to work on my own. So I'm really not, kind of, so I try to work on my own to make it. But those are just some of the observations. And unfortunately, the youth them I say them no one married. Kind of make no sense. That are the part now, I said, Jesus. You know what I mean? So we have to take stock, Church of God, because we can't expect the world to change it first. We have to fix it, because we see our institution.
That's right.
When they march and them something, they will say our institution. So let's fix it. Else we're gonna lose the moral authority in saying anything or advocating. Yeah, man.
Awesome, Jason. Awesome. What are 3 of your greatest life lessons so far?
Don't burn bridges. Even when there's an issue with a friend or family member, don't burn bridges. Time heals. Time heals, or time can heal if you allow it to and you do the right things. What's the next one? Next one is my wife is my best friend. I have to put that there, you know what I mean? So yeah, you go. It's hard for me to box me like that, because I won't leave a thing. So you leave them 3.
Time heals if you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Really means that you have to do the work, because the time allows the work to be done, as Jason said. Don't burn the bridges, and your wife is your best friend. Some serious things like that, want to encourage our man them. What are you most grateful for these days, Jason? What are you most grateful for?
That my wife is my best friend. I just kidding. Well,
Sataya, I really hope you're listening today.
All right, so
I'm
going to be honest. I'm grateful for Jamaica Theological Seminary.
Yes.
That school has allowed me to examine myself, allow me to learn about myself, fostered my growth as a professional, Christian growth as well. So yeah, I mean that for me, yeah, is a big deal. Also, learning to embrace my past. Yeah, that's it. That's on track with your question, right?
Tell us a little bit more what you mean by being grateful for your past.
Because it however unfortunate it was in some instances, and in the moment, nobody wants to go through anything negative or bad. But I'm happy for my journey because it has helped me to put a lot of things in perspective. It has helped me to recognize that I'm a servant, and I mean that. I mean that with all humility. And so I have an issue with titles, and Courtney would know that. I have a serious issue with titles. Not that it's not good and it's not genuine in some spaces, but I think because of how society is, that sometimes people put us on a pedestal, and sometimes we go on the pedestal, and it's like that understanding that the higher the monkey climb, the more I'm exposed. And I realized being a student of psychology, how human I am. So for example, I love my wife. I've never cheated on her. I don't plan to. But I'm not stupid enough to believe that as a counselor, I am not also exposed or also at risk based on what is happening with our sex cells. If you understand what I mean, everything is just out there. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So
Understand completely, bro.
yeah, man. So it's like I'm grateful for all the thing, and I'm grateful for life. I
Yeah.
must say this as someone who struggled with anxiety and depression. I had to be on medication, etc. Diagnosed with a chemical imbalance in the brain. I have embraced that this is, don't demonize me. I've embraced that God has allowed this to buffet me sometimes, to come at me in order to be able to reach some of the youth in present day, because mental health is real.
Yeah.
Suicidal ideation is real. Depression is real. And I can say to these youth, maybe I go through X and X. This is how I dealt with it and X and X and X and X. So these are just some of the things, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Right. Thank you, Jason. Courtney, I think we have to ask him to give a final charge. Especially the man them who feel depressed and discouraged, disillusioned. The master boy not now go on. Leave a word in their life, Jason. What would you say? Man
You
from
know,
farm, bush and
when
things
I
like
was very young, when I was younger, because I'm still young, I'm not Courtney's age. So I'm not old. When I
that.
was younger, there's Psalm 119, verse 9, I believe. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed to the word of God. I've recognized that allowing the Lord to lead makes a world of difference. And if you're listening to me, you will have questions about the Bible. You will have questions about the Bible. That is normal. But the Bible is the best and the only book for us, the only roadmap. I encourage you not to give up on faith. I encourage you not to give up on Christ. If you're listening and you don't know him, if you buck up on a station by chance, I'm not say if you try everything and if everything fails, try Jesus. I'm say try Jesus first, because it can prevent a lot of stuff.
Amen. Amen.
It's not an easy road.
It's not
As a
easy.
married man, as I just said, temptation is out there. As a father, sometimes you feel like you want to walk away. With the workload, you want to give up. But there's something about this faith that keeps me accountable. Not to my wife, not to my employer, not to my children, but accountable to God because of what he expects of me. So may I say, grab a book, the good book, find somebody to reason with, and allow yourself to be accountable to the book, who is also the word of God, and to God himself. Blessings.
Wow, wow. Jason, always a privilege and a pleasure to listen to you. Indeed, you are a good man and a good friend. We have been talking with Reverend Jayson Downer. He has been our Integrity guest, and he has just been fantastic.
Yeah, thanks to our producer, Tony K. Bromfield. Thanks to our sponsor, Foswich Company Limited, to Timoy Butler for technical support. To you, our listeners, and those who joined us on social media, thank you. Thank you so much.
So again, thanks very much, Jason, Reverend Jayson Downer. Continue to show other men how to live by integrity and how to balance multiple roles, and most importantly, how to pursue God and have one wife. Kevin.
Definitely. Listeners, catch you again next week inside another episode of the Mailbox. This was the program designed for men, with guests were men, hosted by Kevin Bailey and my brethren there, Courtney.
Courtney Morrison, yes. Sponsored by Foswich Company Limited, your electrical, solar, and lighting people. Next week, Monday.
And they
Bless
are.
up.
Bless up.
On the show. When you hear the trumpet or the